Before she died, my mother gave her €250 million spa resort to the state, leaving me only a single small cake. The day my husband's family threw me out with nothing, I broke it open, and my life changed forever. The late autumn sun streamed through the hospital window, casting a golden glow across the sterile white room. The smell of antiseptic was sharp and familiar, but I barely noticed it. My hand was wrapped tightly around my mother's, trying to share what little warmth I had. My mother, a formidable businesswoman who had built an empire from nothing, now lay quietly, her breath as faint as a candle flame in the wind. At her bedside, Mr. Chevalier, our family lawyer for decades, sat with a solemn expression, a heavy-looking file resting on his lap. My mother's eyes fluttered open. She looked at me, then at the lawyer, her voice a mere whisper but clear. "Mr. Chevalier, please proceed." He nodded. "Madam Chairman, Miss Clara, I will now read the contents of the will, prepared and signed by the chairman 1 month ago." I held my breath, though I thought I knew what was coming. As her only daughter, I assumed her life's work, the magnificent Ciel Bleu Thermal Spa and Resort, valued at €250 million, would be mine. But the lawyer's next words shattered my world. The entire Ciel Bleu Thermal Spa and Resort, including all properties, assets, and related investments, with a total estimated value of €250 million, will be donated to the state. These assets will be used to establish a charitable foundation for the construction of schools and hospitals in underprivileged regions. Silence filled the room. I felt my mother's hand squeeze mine. I looked at her, bewildered. Why? It was her entire legacy. What about me? The questions swirled in my head, but I couldn't speak. Mr. Chevalier cleared his throat and read the final section. "To my only daughter, Clara, I leave a small gift, a token of a mother's love. I hope you will understand my decision." And that was it. €250 million to charity, and a small gift for me, her only child. Tears welled in my eyes as I looked to my mother for an explanation. Her gaze was not apologetic. It was calm, filled with a strange trust. "Clara," she whispered, her breath warm against my ear. "Don't be sad. Too much money is not always a blessing. I have my reasons. You will understand." Outside, I could hear the murmurs of my husband's family. They had been waiting, and I knew they must have overheard. My husband, Marcus, walked in first, followed by his mother and his sister, Helena. Their faces were masks of undisguised disappointment and anger. "My dear woman," my mother-in-law began, her voice dripping with venom as she looked at my dying mother. "You worked your whole life just to give your money away to strangers? What about our Clara? Don't you care for her at all?" My mother remained silent, her eyes closed in exhaustion. I stood up, trying to shield her. "Please, this is my mother's decision. Don't say any more." "Why shouldn't I?" she snapped. "This family was counting on that inheritance. What are we supposed to do now?" Her words hit me like a physical blow. What are we supposed to do? It was never about me. It was about the fortune they thought I would inherit. I looked at Marcus, hoping for a shred of empathy, but he avoided my gaze. A chilling realization washed over me. The real storm of my life was just beginning. 2 days later, my mother passed away peacefully in her sleep. The funeral was a grand affair, but I knew it was all a performance for my in-laws. My mother-in-law sobbed dramatically, while Marcus stood by my side, the perfect image of a supportive husband. Behind their masks, however, I could feel their simmering rage. "The old fool," I overheard one of them whisper. "Threw it all away on strangers." After everything was settled, Mr. Chevalier asked to see me. He handed me a small, exquisitely carved wooden box. "This is the gift your mother wanted me to give you personally," he said. Inside, resting on a bed of red velvet, was a small, ornate marzipan cake, my mother's favorite. With it was a small note in her firm, steady hand. "When you are at your lowest point, open this." A cake. That was it. Was this some kind of cruel joke? A message that I was worth nothing more? But her note suggested something else. Lowest point? Had she known what was coming? I arrived home to a heavy, suffocating atmosphere. Marcus pulled me into our bedroom. "Clara," he stammered, "there's something I have to tell you. I had a terrible feeling." "What is it?" He finally met my eyes. "My mother thinks we should get a divorce." I stood frozen. My mother had been gone for only a few days, and they were already casting me out. "Why?" I managed to ask, my voice trembling. "You know why," he said, looking away again. "Your mother gave everything away. I have my own mother and sister to think about. Life is going to be difficult." "And difficult?" I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "When your family was struggling, it was my mother who helped you. You told me you loved me, not her money. What happened to that?" He couldn't answer. Just then his mother pushed the door open. "He's right," she said coldly. "Love is one thing, but we have to be practical. You have nothing now. You're just a burden. Sign this." She threw a piece of paper on the table, divorce papers. "Then pack your things and get out. We have no room for a useless daughter-in-law." I looked from the papers to the man I had loved, now standing silent like a coward. In that moment, any love I had for him and his family shattered. I picked up the pen and signed my name with a steady hand. "Fine," I said, my voice eerily calm. "I'll go." I packed a single small suitcase, leaving behind all the expensive things they had ever bought me. I took only my personal belongings and the wooden box containing my mother's cake. As I walked out the door, Helena called after me with a sneer. "Don't forget your little cake. Maybe it'll keep you from starving." I didn't look back as the door slammed shut, severing me from that life of lies. I was alone, wandering the city streets with nowhere to go. This, I thought, must be the lowest point my mother had spoken of. That night, in a small, damp room in a cheap boarding house, I finally took out the wooden box. The sweet scent of almond and sugar filled the air, a fragrance that brought back a flood of memories. My hands trembled as I carefully broke the cake in two, just as my mother's note instructed. Inside, nestled within the soft marzipan, was not more cake, but a small object wrapped in waxed paper. My heart pounded as I unwrapped it. A beautiful jade locket, perfectly split in half, gleamed under the dim light. Tucked beside it was another folded note. It held only an address and a name. Mr. Dubois, 17 Rue de la Paix, Old Quarter. Mr. Dubois. The name was familiar. He was our old household manager, a quiet, loyal man who had been with my mother since the beginning of her career. He had retired years ago. Why would my mother want me to find him? What did this locket mean? A flicker of hope ignited within me. The cake wasn't a mockery. It was a key to a plan my mother had set in motion long ago. The next morning, I found my way to the address. Number 17 was an old two-story house with a faded wooden gate. I knocked, and after a moment, the gate creaked open. An elderly man with white hair and kind, intelligent eyes stood before me. It was Mr. Dubois. His eyes widened in recognition, then softened with sympathy as he took in my disheveled appearance. "Miss Clara," he said, his voice warm with emotion. "Please come in." Inside, he poured me a cup of hot tea. "I came because my mother," I began, then simply placed my half of the locket on the table. Mr. Dubois looked at it, then disappeared into another room. He returned holding the other half. He placed it next to mine, and the two pieces clicked together perfectly, forming a complete, circular locket engraved with an intricate design. "This was the token your mother entrusted to me," he said. "She told me that one day you would bring the other half. She foresaw all of this. Ex terrible." "What did she foresee?" I asked. "She knew the true nature of your husband's family," he explained. "She knew they would abandon you the moment they thought the money was gone. This was her way of protecting you." He led me to a wall panel which slid open to reveal a hidden safe. He carefully turned the dial, and the heavy door swung open. "Your mother did not want you to live a life of idle comfort," he said, turning to me. "She wanted you to learn to stand on your own. The path ahead will not be easy. Are you ready?" I saw my mother's strength reflected in his eyes. "I am ready," I said, my voice firm. Mr. Dubois nodded, satisfied. He reached into the safe and pulled out a heavy metal box. He handed me a small key. "Your mother wanted you to open this yourself." My hands shook as I unlocked the box. Inside, the first thing I saw were neat stacks of banknotes. 100,000 euros, Mr. Dubois said. "Seed capital. Your mother always said a woman must have her own money to be truly independent." Beneath the money was a sealed file. On the cover were the words, "Temporary power of attorney, CL Blue Thermal Spa and Resort." "This is the most important part," Mr. Dubois said. "When your mother donated the resort, she included a special clause. During the transition period, an interim manager is required to oversee operations. That person is you." It all clicked into place. The public will was a brilliant performance, designed to test my husband's family and free me from them. Now, with this document, I had the legal authority to take back control. "Your mother always said it's better to give someone a fishing rod than a fish," Mr. Dubois smiled. "She has given you the rod and the bait. The rest is up to you." The next day, after buying a smart new suit, I met with Mr. Chevalier. I placed the file on his desk. As he read the documents, his professional demeanor gave way to astonishment, then a broad smile of admiration. "Incredible," he exclaimed. "I thought I knew your mother, but this is a masterstroke. She exposed them, protected you, and paved the way for your return, all in one move. Truly brilliant." His validation gave me a surge of confidence. We formulated a plan. Mr. Chevalier's team began investigating Marcus's finances. It didn't take long to find what we were looking for. Using money he had coaxed out of me for fake investment opportunities, Marcus had secretly purchased 2 luxury apartments, putting them in the names of his mother and sister. The proof was undeniable. With bank statements and property deeds in hand, Mr. Chevalier filed an emergency motion with the court. A judge quickly issued an order to freeze both properties. They couldn't be sold or transferred. We had struck the first blow. The time had come to reclaim my mother's legacy. Dressed in a powerful navy blue suit, I walked into the Ciel Blue Resort with Mr. Chevalier and Mr. Dubois by my side. I strode directly to the main conference room, where I knew Marcus was holding a management meeting. I threw open the doors. Marcus was sitting at the head of the table in my mother's chair, boasting about his grand plans. The smile froze on his face when he saw me. "Clara, what are you doing here?" he stammered. I ignored him, addressing the room with a clear, steady voice. "Good morning, everyone. I am Clara, daughter of the late chairman. I am here today to exercise my legal authority." Mr. Chevalier stepped forward, presenting the official documents. As per the legally binding power of attorney, Miss Clara is now the interim head of the Ciel Blue Resort, with full executive power. Any appointments made without her consent after the chairman's passing are null and void. A wave of murmurs and shocked gasps filled the room. "This is ridiculous. It's fake," Marcus shouted. "The will was read. She got nothing." I finally turned to look at him, a cold smile on my face. "Marcus, you're fired, effective immediately. Security." I called to the guards at the door. "Please escort this man out. His family's privileges at this resort are also revoked." He was dragged out of the room, his face a mixture of disbelief and pure hatred. He couldn't comprehend how the wife he'd so easily discarded had just destroyed him with a few simple words. We knew they wouldn't give up. They would try to destroy any evidence of their wrongdoing. My mother, ever prepared, had a secret camera system installed in her office years ago. We laid a trap. We created a file labeled Evidence of Embezzlement Marcus, filled it with blank paper, and left it in a conspicuous place on my desk. That evening, I made a loud phone call, announcing I had a late dinner meeting and wouldn't be back until the next day. Then, we waited. From a hidden security room, we watched the monitors. Just before midnight, a shadowy figure crept down the hall. It was Marcus. After fumbling with the lock, he broke into the office. We watched as he snatched the fake file, a look of desperate relief on his face. Just as he turned to leave, we sprang the trap. The lights flashed on, and the doors locked automatically. He turned to see me, Mr. Chevalier, Mr. Dubois, and a team of security guards standing there. "Hello, Marcus," I said calmly. "Working late?" He collapsed, confessing everything in a flood of pathetic tears, blaming his mother for forcing him to do it. Every word was recorded. We turned him and the evidence, including the video of the break-in and his taped confession, over to the police. The next morning, his mother and sister stormed into the resort, screaming and causing a scene. We met them in the conference room. "What have you done to my son?" his mother shrieked. In response, I simply played the video of the break-in on the large screen. Their faces went pale. Then, I played the audio of Marcus's confession, where he threw his mother under the bus, detailing her entire plan. His mother looked as if she'd seen a ghost. The ultimate betrayal had come not from me, but from her own beloved son. Mr. Chevalier placed a final document on the table. "You have two choices," he said. "You can sign over the apartments and return the 5 million euros you stole, and we will focus only on the divorce. Or, we can proceed with fraud charges, and you will both likely face prison time." Through their tears, they signed. The court case was swift. Marcus was sentenced to 3 years in prison for theft. The divorce was finalized, and he was ordered to pay me for emotional damages. Justice had been served. In the months that followed, I poured my soul into running the resort. I streamlined operations, promoted loyal and talented staff, and invested in a new state-of-the-art wellness center that became a massive success. The resort thrived like never before. The state officials were so impressed that they proposed a unique public-private partnership, making my interim role permanent. I had not only protected my mother's legacy, but had made it grow. I realized the greatest inheritance my mother left me wasn't money or a resort, but the lessons she had taught me. With the money from the settlement and a portion of the resort's annual profits, I established the Isabel Foundation in my mother's name. Its mission is to provide seed funding and mentorship to women who have escaped abusive situations and want to start their own businesses. From the window of my office, I looked down at the bustling resort, a place filled with life and purpose. I survived the storm and emerged stronger. My mother taught me about preparation, about courage, and most importantly, about the priceless value of a woman's independence. Her greatest gift was not the cake, but the strength she forced me to find within myself. And for that, I will be forever grateful.